Hello and welcome to Brandy's Poetry Corner. This is the last part of Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. That picture by Arthur Rackham. It's a beautiful picture of something that is coming up today. Yes. What is Lizzie going to do? Because Lizzie can still hear the goblins that sell the fruit that Laura is pining away for. Laura can't hear them anymore. What is her sister to do to save her? Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. Till Laura, dwindling, seemed knocking at death's door. Then Lizzie weighed no more, better or worse, but put a silver penny in her purse, kissed Laura, crossed the heath with clumps of firs at twilight, halted by the brook, and for the first time in her life began to listen and look. Laughed every goblin when they spied her peeping, came towards her hobbling, flying, running, leaping, puffing and blowing, chuckling, clapping, crowing, clucking and gobbling, mopping and mowing, full of airs and graces, pulling wry faces, demure grimaces, cat-like and rat-like, rattle and wombat-like, snail-paced in a hurry, parrot-voiced and whistler, helter-skelter, hurry-scurry, chattering like magpies, fluttering like pigeons, gliding like fish, hugged her and kissed her, squeezed and caressed her, stretch up their dishes, panniers and plates, look at our apples, look at russet and dun, bob at our cherries, bite at our peaches, citrons and dates, grapes for the asking, pears red with basking out in the sun, plums on their twigs, pluck them and suck them, pomegranates, figs. Good folk, said Lizzie, mindful of Jeanie, give me much and many, held out her apron, tossed them her penny. Nay, take a seat with us, Honour, and eat with us, they answered grinning. Our feast is but beginning, night yet is early, warm and dew-pearly, wakeful and starry, such fruits as these no man can carry. Half their blooms would fly, half their dew would dry, half their flavour would pass by. Sit down and feast with us, but be welcome guest with us, cheer you and rest with us. Thank you, said Lizzie, while one waits at home alone for me. So without further parleying, if you will not sell me any of your fruits, though much and many, give me back my silver penny. I tossed you for a fee. They began to scratch their pates, no longer wagging, purring, but visibly demurring, grunting and snarling. One called her proud, cross-grained, uncivil. Their tones waxed loud, their looks were evil. Lashing their tails, they trod and hustled her, elbowed and jostled her, clawed with their nails, barking, mewing, hissing, mocking, tore her gown and soiled her stocking, twitched her hair out by the root, stamped upon her tender feet, held her hand and squeezed their fruit against her mouth to make her eat. White and golden Lizzie stood, like a lily in a flood, like a rock of blue-veined stone lashed by tides obstreperously, like a beacon left alone in a hoary, roaring sea, sending up a golden fire, like a fruit-crowned orange tree, white with blossom, honey-sweet, sore beset by wasp and bee, like a royal virgin town, topped with gilded dome and spire, close beleaguered by a fleet, mad to tug her standard down. One may lead a horse to water, 20 cannot make it drink. Though the goblins cuffed and caught her, coaxed and fought her, bullied and besought her, scratched her, pinched her black as ink, kicked and knocked her, mauled and mocked her, Lizzie uttered not a word, would not open lip from lip, lest they should cram a mouthful in, but laughed in heart to feel the drip of juice that syrupped all her face, and lodged in dimples of her chin, and streaked her neck, which quaked like curd. At last the evil people, worn out by her resistance, flung back her penny, kicked their fruit along whichever road they took, not leaving root or stone or shoot. Some writhed into the ground, some dived into the brook with ring and ripple, some scuddered on the gale without a sound, some vanished in the distance. In a smart ache tingle Lizzie went her way, knew not was it night or day, sprung up from the bank, tore through the furze, threaded copse and dingle, and heard her penny jingle bouncing in her purse. Its bounce was music to her ears. She ran and ran, if she feared some goblin man dogged her with jibe or curse or something worse. But not one goblin scurried after, nor was she pricked by fear. The kind heart made her windy pace, that urged her home quite out of breath with haste and inward laughter. She cried, "Laura!" up the garden. "Did you miss me? Come and kiss me. Never mind my bruises. Hug me, kiss me, suck my juices, squeezed from goblin fruits for you. Goblin pulp and goblin dew. Eat me, drink me, love me. Laura, make much of me. For your sake I have braved the glen, and had to do with goblin merchantmen." Laura started from her chair, flung her arms up in the air, clutched her hair. "Lizzie, Lizzie, have you tasted for my sake the fruit forbidden? Must your light like mine be hidden, your young life like mine be wasted, undone in mine undoing, and ruined in my ruin, thirsty, cankered, goblin-ridden?" She clung about her sister, kissed and kissed and kissed her. Tears once again refreshed her drunken eyes, dropping like rain after long sultry drouth. Shaking with anguish, fear and pain, she kissed and kissed her with a hungry mouth. Her lips began to scorch. That juice was wormwood on her tongue. She loathed the feast. Writhing as one possessed, she leapt and sung, rent all her robes and wrung her hands in lamentable haste, and beat her breast. Her locks streamed like the torch borne by a racer at full speed, or like the mane of horses in their flight, or like an eagle when she stems the light straight towards the sun, or like a caged thing freed, or like a flying flag where armies run. Swift fire spread through her veins, knocked at her heart, met the fire smouldering there and overbore its lesser flame. She gorged on bitterness without a name. Ah, fool, to choose such part of soul-consuming care! Sense failed in the mortal strife, like the watchtower of a town, which an earthquake shatters down, like a lightning-stricken mask, like a wind-uprooted tree, spun about like a foam-topped waterspout, cast down headlong in the sea. She fell at last, pleasure past and anguish past. Is it death or is it life? Life out of death. That night long Lizzie watched by her, counted her pulses' flagging stir, felt for her breath, held water to her lips and cooled her face with tears and fanning leaves. But when the first birds chirped about their eaves, and early reapers plodded to the place of golden sheaves, and dew-wet grass bowed to the morning wind so brisk to pass, and new buds with new day opened of cup-like lilies on the stream, Laura awoke, as from a dream, laughed in the innocent old way, hugged Lizzie, but not twice or thrice. Her gleaming locks showed not one thread of grey. Her breath was sweet as May, and night danced in her eyes. Days, weeks, months, years afterwards, when both were wives with children of their own, their mother hearts beset with fears, their lives bound up in tender lives, Laura would call the little ones and tell them of her early prime, those pleasant days long gone, of not returning time. Would talk about the haunted glen, the wicked quaint fruit merchant men, their fruits like honey to the throat, but poison in the blood. Men sell not such in any town. Would tell them how her sister stood in deadly peril to do her good, and win the fiery antidote. Then joining hands to little hands, would bid them cling together, but there is no friend like a sister, in calm or stormy weather, to cheer one on the tedious way, to fetch one if one goes astray, to lift one if one totters down, to strengthen whilst one stands. And there you have it, Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. If you have a sister, value her, because she may save you. I hope you enjoyed that. I think when Christina Rossetti wrote it, it was regarded as a children's poem. I think it would have scared me witless when I was a kid, but then perhaps that was the point. It's a wonderful poem. I think it's a wonderful poem. Join me again in Brandy's Poetry Corner, or look me up, Brandy Pearson, on YouTube on my little channel. Thank you.